Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
I hope you people are able to see my screen,
Yes, ma'am.
and I hope my voice is loud and clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ameya. Thank you for letting me know. I hope everybody is doing well. Nanak, how's your health now? अरे बड़ा देर से बीमार चल रहे हो. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Prabnoor, how are you doing, beta?
मैम ठीक हूँ मैम ऐसे ही just
I know, this is a season which is changing and getting the better of all of us. तो थोड़ा बहुत cold का हो रहा है season में. So please take care, everyone. And I hope you people had a nice break, Diwali break.
yes मैम
I won't be admitting anyone in now into the Google Meet thing. Please share the YouTube link with those people so that they can, catch up on the lecture there. Yeah, it gets a little difficult. I have to move back and forth. And okay, the topic that we're taking up for discussion today is telephonic etiquettes. Now, we know that telephones or in today's day and age, mobile phones, cell phones, they are, devices that we depend upon, majorly for all our communication needs, right? And we cannot seem to get on without them, be it our personal communications that we have to do with our family members and friends, relatives, etc., just to touch base with people and catch up on their lives and keep ourselves updated on what's happening. And also at the same time, for your professional purposes, when you have to reach out to customers, clients, resolve problems, share information, maybe various details. So, for a whole lot of things, maybe register a complaint or carry out some day-to-day business activity. So we need, these cell phones in a very big way, and they seem to have a huge sway on our lives, a huge hold on our lives in this day and age. I think even your milkman, your dhobi wala, your anybody for that matter, even vegetable vendors, small time shopkeepers, big business tycoons, you name it. Anyone and everyone needs a cell phone, needs a telephone, needs a mobile phone to stay in touch and to conduct the day-to-day activities that he may be engaging in, whether it is professional or personal. So it's become a very important part of our lives. Also, a kind of a dependency without which we cannot get on with our lives. And we hardly even think, how much we are relying on our cell phones. Can you just imagine for a day that you go on without your cell phones? Can you for once think that, okay, today you won't be using? There are a few people who refrain from using cell phones. They refrain from using mobile phones. They might not be using them. The elderly or people who are not used to it, or people who seem to have discarded them from their lives and want to, have got nothing to do with mobile phones. So all kinds of people are there, and there are quite a few people who may be resistant to using them. But then, majorly or largely, we find a whole lot of people using them, and the accessibility, the availability, the fact that we can all afford it, has made it rampant, and people all over the world, rural areas, urban areas, everywhere are relying on cell phones and telephones for their communication needs. And therefore, we also need to know and learn how to conduct ourselves when we are on a call with someone, when we need to reach out to someone, when we need to make a call to someone. How are we going to do that? What are the etiquettes involved? What are the ways of conducting yourself, right? Even when someone reaches out to you, so how do you answer those calls? If you are in your professional setup, how do you engage with callers? How do you answer back? How do you respond? How do you transfer the call to the right person if the need arises? And if someone has to convey some kind of a message to you, how do you take down that message? What kind of conduct is expected out of you? What kind of mannerisms are expected out of you? So we will basically be apprising ourselves of this in this class, in this lecture. And a lot of times we also would have been on the receiving end of receiving a call, or maybe engaging in a call with someone who doesn't even know how to talk on telephone, who probably is very say abusive or timid or offensive or aggressive, or displays bad manners, and it kind of puts you off, right? So when you engage with people like that on a cell phone, who don't know how the basic etiquettes of conducting oneself on telephonic calls, it becomes a huge source of disappointment, and it kind of becomes frustrating also at times. When people don't identify themselves, or they're very brash or upfront, or edgy, or meek, or are not saying anything, are probably saying too much, all kinds of people out there. So when people display bad manners, it's a huge put off, and therefore that is precisely the thing that we should avoid doing when we are on a telephonic call with someone. So every time you receive a call, whether at your workplace or in the department where you're working, in that institute, in that organization, so you are not only representing your individual self, you're also representing your image, the company's image. You're also projecting the image of your department, whether when you're dealing with all kinds of external or internal customers, clients, people with whom you do business. When you engage with all kinds of people in the professional setup, then you become reflective of the company. You project the company's image, you project the department's image, and therefore it is all the more important that you conduct yourself well, that you display good manners in order to build long-term, lasting relationships with your, business companions, your business partners, clients, customers. Because the first impression, as they say, is a very lasting one. So when you happen to speak to them on the phone, it's going to have a long-lasting impact on the people. If the people on the phone sound polite, courteous, considerate, willing to help, you would probably warm up to them, and you would want to do business with them. You would want to engage with them further. And at the same time, to the contrary, if people on the phone seem to be a little, edgy, aggressive, or upfront, or maybe showing very brazen in their approach, not courteous, so then of course it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth, and you would, sort of shy away from engaging with them in future. So the first impressions are the lasting ones, and you would want to create a favorable impression on your potential employer, your potential clients, customer base, and or with people with whom you deal in the professional space. And for that to be there, for that to happen, you will have to ensure that you are conducting yourself well. You are projecting the right kind of image of the company through your voice, which they will hear on the telephone with you. And after that, of course, there would be maybe in-person interactions, etc. The initial interaction takes place through the telephone. So you have to ensure that your voice, your mannerisms, everything is perfect, everything says and speaks highly of you and of your company. So you have to be a good listener, listen to the complaint, listen to the query, listen to what the other person has to say. You have to and also you have to be at your best behavior, and showing and displaying a whole lot of courtesy and consideration for the caller, and staying alert and taking the right action. All this would be needed. So when we answer calls, it's important that we answer the calls within 3 rings. As far as possible, if you're not too busy, if you're not preoccupied, if you're not engaging in any other activity, and if you happen to listen to the call, or if you happen to be at the workplace, then and the best practice is that take the call within 3 rings if it is possible for you. If it is within your capacity to do so, then you must always respond at the earliest, take the call at the earliest. And as soon as you reach out to your phone and answer your phone, identify yourself, let them know who you are. So you can always say, this is so and so from this department, and then you can ask the caller about his identity. And probably if the caller too has good manners, he will identify himself immediately as soon as he makes the call. And you have to speak in a very pleasant voice. Greet the person. Greeting is a very good way of striking and building a rapport, of getting the whole thing rolling, setting the tone for it, showing warmth, showing consideration, and maybe when you greet with a little smile, even that smile can be heard. They will not be able to see the smile on the person's face, but that can certainly be felt. If you are in a foul mood, in a bad temper, you are speaking in a very curt way, even that will be perceived by the caller. So the person who's on the other end will feel that something's amiss. The person sounded a little too rude, or maybe wasn't very in a good frame of mind, did not sound very nice, warm and happy. So that can be felt. And because our voice reflects so much of our feelings and our emotions and our frame of mind, so always have and adopt a very pleasant tone, so that the person appreciates it. He warms up to you, he's willing to share more with you, he's willing to engage and connect with you, and he doesn't feel put off with any kind of harshness from your end. And listen actively, listen to the other person, for the time being, suspend all judgment, suspend everything, just listen keenly to what he has to say, and without interrupting the person. Yeah, it's important that when someone's speaking, we give them their time to speak, and without interfering or interrupting them, just perceive the message, just try and understand what they're trying to say. If you are someone who's not at the desk at the time when people call, maybe for a few minutes, you've gone here and there, you're not seated on your desk. Again, it's important that for that moment, if especially when you're using a landline, and in a lot of businesses and organizations, people continue to use them. They have their own internal telephonic exchange with various extensions, extension numbers assigned to different executives. So people don't necessarily have to reach out to them on their cell phones, which becomes individualized. They reach out to them from the from the desk, from the operator, the telephonic operator, using the internal telephonic exchange number, and then the telephonic operator can direct them to the different extensions and to whosoever specifically that they want to speak to. Though this practice was quite prevalent earlier on, having internal telephonic exchanges, even we have it in our college. I don't know if you people know this, but even GTVIT has its own, and we were assigned external, these extension numbers So for connecting, on a day-to-day basis internally, if I have to speak to the accounts officer, if I have to speak to the director or my HOD, I can simply reach out to the landline through the landline extension number which are provided to us within the organizational space. But then this is also the day and age when we are using mobile phones, right? So we are using mobile phones, and even reaching out through mobile phones has become quite predominant, quite rampant. Even in big businesses, corporates, everywhere you'll find it's quite it's quite legitimate to use your mobile phones for your business communication and your professional needs and requirements, and for your professional communications. So at that time, if you feel that you're going to be busy somewhere, you won't be able to reach out to your phone, you're busy in a meeting, you can always leave a forward your that call to the voicemail, so that the person can leave his message on your voicemail. So this is also a healthy practice, a practice which shows your consideration, especially if you're expecting a call. If you know that someone's going to call at this particular time, and maybe he told you that he would be calling, and you seem to have gotten busy somewhere, it's a good thing to show your consideration for their call by directing that call to your voicemail, so that they can directly reach out to you, send their message, whatever they have to say, and convey it to you there. Also, when you have to transfer the call to someone, it's important that we push the hold button, use the hold button. It should not happen that someone's asked, someone's called, and while you are transferring the call to someone, he overhears a whole lot of other conversation taking place around you. So it's better that you put that person, and also tell him that you would be putting him on a hold for a while, for a moment, and seek his permission that whether he would want this call to be transferred to the person, if you are not the right person to whom he should be speaking to. You can always extend these little courtesies. It's important, in the business world, extending these little courtesies of transferring the call to the right person, helping a certain person who's trying to reach out, by guiding him, by telling him that, okay, this is the person you should be speaking to, and if you do you would you want me to transfer the call to him, or would you mind holding for a moment so that I can bring him on the call, anything of that kind. So extending these little courtesies is displaying good manners, is showing good telephonic etiquettes. And if the caller has, reached a wrong number, even then you have to display courtesy. You can't just shout on the person, or show your frustration, or get angry with him, or speak in a bad way with them. Because again, sometimes it happens that the caller himself is frustrated. He's been calling all over the place, and he's not being able to reach out to the right person. Maybe his call is getting transferred from one person to the other, and he himself is frustrated, and he seemed to be in a foul mood, and therefore he could speak in a harsh way. Even that does not mean that you would lose your temper yourself and react in the same offensive, aggressive way. Rather, it would be wise on your part to deal with such callers with a lot of patience, with a lot of courtesy and consideration, and try to help them out in whatever ways possible for you to do so. So when you make calls, again, making a call is also there is a way to it, there is a method to it, there's a certain way of doing it. So as soon as you call someone, it's important that you identify yourself. You have to let them know who you are. It's not a you can of course, with personal people, with people who know you, and they can identify your voice. You need not say anything. You simply say hi, kya ho raha hai, kya nahi. So they'll identify you. But then when you're dealing with business people, people in the professional space, there you will have to tell them that okay, well, this is so and so speaking, and then identify, ask the person. Generally we'll say, am I talking to so and so? This is Dr. Seema Singh. Am I talking to Nanak Singh Khurana? Something like that. So, or sometimes people also say, well, to whom am I speaking? you know so that the other person identifies himself. But then generally, to whom am I speaking is done with complete strangers when you know and are very sure that the person you're dealing with, the person you reached out to, is a particular person. And then you can always check it up with them, that is he the right person? So are you so and so? That's a better way of going about it. Let them know who you are and check it up with them, that if the call has been received by the person you have reached out to, you have called. Also, then let them know the purpose of your communication. Very clearly, quickly state the reason, state the purpose. Why have you called? Well, I would want to discuss with you this particular thing. So when you tell them, then they are able to register everything, and they're in the right frame of mind then to understand the conversation that is going to ensue. If you reach out to a wrong number, again, it's important that you display good manners. It's better to say, I'm sorry, I must have the wrong number, I must have dialed the wrong number, and I would please excuse my interruption, and then you can hang up very politely and in a courteous way. Don't start arguing with the person. No, no, I called this number. How is it that it is you who have got it? There are a lot of people do that, and then it kind of becomes ugly. So there's no need for you to start arguing with the person, even if you have dialed a wrong number or reached out to a wrong number. Be polite, be considerate. And if you've told a person that you will be calling at a certain time, then always, uh, you know, uh, make sure that you call them at that desired time. Keep your promise. Never go back on your word. This shows credibility of behavior. This shows predictability of behavior. If you've told someone, okay, let's just touch base tomorrow evening at 4. Let's just catch up with each other and discuss this matter tomorrow evening at 5. Then that does not mean you will not call them just because you got busy with something. It's very important for you as a person, as an individual, displaying highest levels of integrity and good conduct and attitude to reach out to that person at the appointed hour. And for any reason, if you're not able to do so, again, it's important for you to text them, tell them, let them know that something's come up, you caught up with something, or there's some urgent requirement that has cropped up, and therefore it won't be possible for you to have the conversation, and you would inform them as to what would be the best time for you to be able to discuss the matter with them. So this is a very, very important thing. A lot of us take people for granted. They call and we don't call back, we don't respond back, we don't answer back. Again, this is a wrong habit. If someone happens to make you a call, it's very important to call back. If Or maybe if you cannot call back, at least text them that you missed their call, and was it something urgent that they wanted to discuss, or whatever it is that they want to discuss, can that be discussed later? Or if you can share that on text, then please feel free to share it there in the text message. So these are the small things, which are the big things, which show your personality, which are a reflection of who you are as a person, which show your highest levels of ethics, your work ethics, and that you take people into consideration, that you don't take them for granted, right? And as I said, if for any reason you get busy, you have to postpone things, you have to delay the conversation, then please make it known to them at the right time, so that it does not happen that they keep waiting for your call. or they call you at that moment since they didn't know that you got busy, or that spoils it spoils their day because they had other things to take care of, and they shelved those things off just because they wanted to accommodate you and your conversation or your call. They had to postpone other things, make other adjustments, so it will they will feel very bad about it, that you told them to keep some time for them and then you got busy and they had to miss other things because they want thought that okay, something important was there to be discussed, and when you did not show up, you did not turn up, you did not call, or when they called and you could not answer, then it leaves a very bad taste in the mouth. So that needs to be taken care of. Also, leave a number. If the other person is not available, you are making a call, let the person who's answering the call know who you are, and what is the purpose of your call, and that, or also maybe tell them that this is the number that they can reach out to you once the person is back. These days, you don't need to do this because cell phones have the recording history, record history. You know the time when someone called. You can even, if you save the number with the name, then you would know who the person is who called. So, but otherwise, if you're using a landline, then you might have to tell them the number, that okay, this is the number. When he comes back, he or she can reach out to uh, you on that particular number. So these are the small courtesies we have to make. So when you're screening the calls, again you've received a call and you're answering it, always state your department, and also you have to tell them who you are, what is your designation, right? Identify yourself with your departmental name, and also how may I help you. That's a standard phrase. How may I help you is a very professional way of dealing with all kinds of calls, uh, just to make the caller comfortable and to make him known that you're available here to help him out with certain requirements that he may have. And if the caller wants to speak to the manager, then again, if you are the person who is handling all the calls, and you are the one who is directing the calls, then you will have to tell them that, well, may I tell him who is calling. So that is also another way of saying that please identify yourself, so please let us know who it is, so that I can inform the manager that it is you who's called, right? And you can be, if you feel it is appropriate, you can also say what is this in regard to, what is it that you wish to talk about, so also finding out the reason for their calling, and then sharing the same with the manager would be a better practice, because then the manager will know, okay, someone has called to discuss some shipment, some packaging issues, or whatever it is, or some check related banking issues. So they would know that, okay, this is a call that needs to be addressed right away, or whether they can talk to that person later, and then transfer the call to the desired extension number. If you are the operator transferring calls, then you will have to then transfer the call to the, and then wait for the manager to answer it. And then you have to tell the manager, well, this so and so person has called, and then wait for the response as to whether the call will be taken. So if the person wants to take the call, then you will have to you press the transfer button to transfer the call to the manager. And if they do not wish to take the call, then you will have to tell the caller, well, he is not there at the moment, or he is out of office. Would you mind letting me know so that I can, drop the message to him, or may I take the message from you, or would you want to use his voicemail? So all these are options that you can give to the caller, stating the reason why the call could not be transferred. You can make up a reason also, like that he's busy in a meeting, or he's out of office, or he's not available at the moment, and may I take your message, and or would you want to have his voicemail so that he can directly leave the message on the voicemail. So when you are taking messages, keep a pen and a paper handy. Write everything down, especially when you're dealing with normal landline telephones, the wired ones, where maybe things and the information will not be displayed or will not be recorded. There won't be any history. So, in such scenarios, it's important to note down the name of the caller with the correct spelling, his cell phone number, his extension number, including the area code. If it's a customer, then the customer ID of the person, also the reason for the call, what was the call with regards to, and also repeat the message back to the caller. Okay, sir, so this is you are so and so, this is your number, and you are a customer, and this is your ID, and you wanted to speak to the manager regard, and then he'll say yes, yes, yes. So the caller will also feel satisfied that his query and concern has been well taken care of, right? So when you repeat the message back, there won't be any room for any communication gap. There won't be any room for any misunderstanding, and the message would be loud and clear, and everything would be settled. That okay, this was the purpose why he called, and you've noted down all the details and the message from him, and you would pass it on to the right person. Also, in that case, when you're writing it down, you would want to note down the time and the date of the call and put your initials there that you were the one who received the call. And of course, when it's a landline call, you would want to also keep a note of the time when someone called. You might forget later, you wouldn't be able to figure out whether it was 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's better to write down the date and the time as well. And if you should also check it up with them whether they would want to share their message with you, or they would want to directly share the message on the voicemail. So you can give them that option also, right? So you can always make a point to ask them, would you like me to transfer you to their voicemail? And if they want to directly get in touch with them on the voicemail, so let them do so. And if they prefer leaving the message with you, then that should also be welcome. But do not assume that the caller would go straight to the voicemail. So it's always better that you ask them. So always write down the message. Don't think you will recollect the message and you'll be able to repeat it back to the person. Writing down helps because you will have all the details, the name of the person, the phone number, the time at which they called, the exact reason why they called, and then that can be shared with the, because there won't be any chances for forgetting anything from the message. And then checking your messages and returning calls. This is also an important telephonic etiquette. We must check our messages daily, try and answer those messages back within 24 hours. Wherever you feel that you have maybe you don't have the network accessibility, you have to make it known to the people who would be reaching out to you, so that they are not left getting fretting and fuming that they have been trying the whole day and they could not reach to you. So it's important to make it clear that you would be out of circuit, or you would be probably in an area with poor network accessibility, and therefore you would get back to them. If this kind of a message is left with them initially, then there will be no room for any confusion or any frustration. Also, you should make the caller very comfortable, and maybe keep checking your voicemails also every day, so that the person, whosoever has called you and has left a message on your voicemail, you can respond to them and they feel comfortable that their messages are being received and being considered and they have been registered. And then also keeping your mailbox clean is a good idea. Whatever action needs to be done, take action quickly, reply, forward the message to the right person, delete the messages where they are not, you won't be needing them in future, or the action is all over and matter has been settled. So such messages can be deleted. If you want to continue to have them, you can continue to have them and maybe delete them at a later stage. And You will need to keep your mailbox organized, and it should not have too many pending messages you've not responded to, or too many messages which you should have deleted long ago and they're still lying there. So all kinds of things you have to be sure about. And also, if you're forwarding a message to someone, then you will have to explain it to that person why you are sending the message to them, that this person wanted to discuss this particular issue and you seem to be the right person, so I'm forwarding his message to you for further action. Again, I've told you about transferring the calls. I'll just quickly go through this one. I've told you how the caller needs to speak to someone from another department or another person, and then you have to let them know that you will be transferring the call to that concerned person on his extension number. And you have to tell them that you will not be transferring to the operator, you will directly send their call or transfer their call to the extension of that person. And then you press transfer, dial the extension, and when you're done, you have to inform them that you have transferred them. Also, I've mentioned this already, putting the caller on hold. You have to ask their permission. Would you mind holding while I get your file? When someone's on the call with you and you are required to do something, then you'll have to tell them that you will be putting them on hold. So these are the ways of putting it across. These are fine examples of the way the sentences can be framed, the way your statements can be framed. Could you hold briefly while I see if so and so is available? So these are polite, courteous ways of putting the caller on hold. And also, when you take them off the hold, thank them for holding. So you can always say, well, would you mind holding as something urgent has come up? And when you attend to that, whatever is urgent, maybe it requires your immediate attention and you addressed it, then you take them off the hook and then you thank them. Well, that was very kind of you to hold for this long. And don't keep them waiting for very long. This is also very important. You should not put your caller to on hold for a very very long time. This is called dead air. When you keep the other person on hold for a very very long time, it's called an extended absence. So you've been away for a very long time. So make sure that you keep a steady flow of conversation, even when you're on the line with someone, you're addressing his requirements. You can also check it up with them. Well, is there anything else they would want to share while you are processing the earlier request that has come to you from them? And keep a continuous conversation with them so that they feel comfortable. So, how do you end your conversations? Again, there are so many ways of doing it. You have to end a long phone call, and you shouldn't sound rude when you're trying to put an end to that conversation. And also, don't try to make up a story there when you are, doing that. And also, before hanging up, you can always ask the caller if there are any other questions that they need to, any other queries or concerns they have, or any other questions on their mind that need to be addressed. And you can promise to finish your discussion at another time. Always mention that you've enjoyed speaking with them, and never ever be in a hurry to hang up first. Always let that caller hang up first. And otherwise, if you hang up first, it would show that you were in a hurry to get off the phone, and that doesn't really sound very nice. And again, exchange pleasantries in the end also. Have a nice day, it was nice speaking. These are the pleasant ways of closing a conversation on telephone. So exchanging pleasantries at the end, maybe deciding on when you could interact or when you could have your next conversation. Those are also good ways of ending the phone call. End on a positive note, on an up note, and a where you have a little pleasant smile on the face, and be very honest and polite with the person. and I think if you are dealing with them in a courteous way, you will have no issues with regards to getting off the phone and do other things. So watch your language. Don't use these phrases, you know her, yeah, a lot of disfluencies, you're constantly using those, and these are negative expressions where you're not willing to help someone, you're very point blank. I don't know where he is, I don't know when he will be back, he's not here, she's at lunch, you please call back later. These are wrong manners. You should never say, we please call back later, or he's not available. You have to put it across, even if someone is not available, even if someone is busy somewhere in a meeting or lunch, you have to make it known in a very courteous way, right? So avoid being discourteous, avoid being ill mannered when you're speaking on a phone with your customers and clients. So you should use these words more often. These are the good ways of extending the right courtesies. May I take your message? Use please, sorry, thank you as much as you like. Would you mind leaving your number? May I put you on hold? I'm sorry to have kept you waiting for this long. Or he's not here at the moment. May I have him return your call? So would it be all right if I ask him to give you a call? This is the right way of dealing it. Not that you please call back later, he's not here. So when you are saying he's out, this is a curt way of saying it, abrupt way of saying it, rude way of saying it. It's better to say he's not in the office at the moment. Would you like to leave a message on his voicemail? Or when someone says, I don't know where he is. Again, this is a very rude way of putting the caller off. Rather, you can say it more politely by saying he has just stepped out of the office. Would you like to leave a message on his voicemail? Or instead of saying he's in the men's room, you can always say he stepped out of the office. Again, a very plain, simple, professional, courteous statement. He hasn't come in yet. Again, is a negative way of cutting someone off. Rather, put it in a positive way. Well, I expect him shortly. Would you like to leave a message on his voicemail? So that the other person doesn't feel offended or put off. Again, these are the ways in which we can better word our expression and be more considerate, be more respectful towards the person with whom we are on the phone call, on the phone line with. And these are the phrases which can be used very often. It was nice talking to you. Is there anything else I can do for you? It's been a pleasure to serve you. You're welcome. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for calling. We appreciate your business. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. And the golden rules is always answer with a greeting, a good afternoon, a good morning, a good evening. Identify yourself and your company. Well, thank you for calling the Oberoi Grand. Identify yourself. This is the manager speaking, or this is Manoj speaking, and ask them, check it up with them. What is it that they've called for? So, can I help you, sir or ma'am? Or would you mind share? How may I help you? How may I help you is another way of putting it. So keep a courteous tone, an audible tone. You should be, clearly understood by the other person, and listen to the guest very carefully. Whatever it is that they want to say, you have to listen to them patiently and attentively. And if you feel you can forget, or you may forget, you can just quickly jot things down, important things down. Don't interrupt the person who's on the call. So the whole initial way of answering it would look something like this: good morning, sir, thank you for calling the Grand Hotel. This is your manager Manoj speaking. Can I help you? May I help you, sir or ma'am? And uh, when you receive a call from a negative person, an abusive person, again, or someone who's not able to convey his point accurately, appropriately, it can create a lot of confusion. And again, you have to show a whole lot of consideration and patience. It can be frustrating for you. You might want to reach out for an aspirin, but then you have to ensure that when you in the business world, you have to keep the caller comfortable. and don't blame the caller. This is very important. And just try and understand whatever it is that they want to say. We'll repeat in the slides here. Demonstrate sympathy and understanding as much as possible. If someone has a complaint, if someone is calling for something bad that they've experienced, again, you have to deal with them with a lot of empathy and express your willingness to help them and convey it to them, just pacify them, comfort them that, well, you're very sorry that this has happened and I can understand why you're upset. These are the polite ways of saying things, which they will, God, I'm sorry, my kids have all these games and these notifications keep coming in. They become a huge distraction for me. Yeah. So always express your willingness to help them, listen to them, take notes, uh, you know, speak very sweetly, pleasantly, and if you can address them with the first name, their name, that's also kind of striking a rapport with them, and commit yourself to helping the callers, and then keep your promise also. Don't go back on your word. If you've told them that you will help them by transferring the call, then do so. Never be upset or never get angry or never feel mad. If you're handling a complainer also, and just try to take quick action once the complainant has hung up on you. Get their details quickly, do whatever has to be done so that you can address their complaint, and stay calm even if the complainant is getting angry. Take the complaint seriously, don't take it lightly. Let them have their say, let them voice their feelings, let them come up with whatever pent up feelings and emotions they have. And then maybe the you can address the whole situation with a calm mind, help them to speak to the right person, and based on all these things, you can treat the complainant with a lot of empathy, courtesy, patience, fairness, and try to address their matter, you know so this is also to be done quickly and accurately. Listening is very important. Don't jump to any conclusions, right? Don't become defensive also. And seek questions, ask questions if you feel you need more clarity on the situation. You've not been able to understand. You can always ask, sorry, I was not able to understand that. Could you please come again? Could you please explain it to me again? So help, this will help you in understanding the situation better. So you can always repeat what the speaker has said. So is this what you were trying to say? You just said that this. So I hope I'm getting it right. I hope I've understood it correctly. This is your way of repeating it back to the speaker so that then they can say, well, yes, you have understood it correctly. Or you have to demonstrate it to them you understood their problem. And then you can thank them for raising their problem with you and then end the conversation. So listen first and then solve the problem. So again, these are things which you, I'm sure, have understood. There's no need to argue, no need to make any false promises. Don't start explaining everything or giving a justification for everything. Just listen to the person. Don't get angry or defensive. And if you think that this complainant should speak to someone else who's the right person, then you can transfer the call to the right person. Also, sometimes the complainant can be angry, can be abusive, so you might have to listen to them patiently, right? And not lose your cool, and agree or disagree, accept or deny, and simply record what they are saying. Just jot it down, just record it, so that you would know that, okay, this is a matter which was escalated, and the person was very upset, and therefore you need to address that, their problem immediately and urgently. And and avoid any personal criticism about the complaint. and avoid using technical terms, a whole lot of jargon when you're saying or repeating back or writing back to the complainant. He might not understand. So you can people can even perceive your style if you're not clear or concise. Greetings are important, so keep it professional and present. Keep it very brief. Voicemail manners, I've already told you. You have to keep your messages short and simple. You may have to keep your cell phone switched off in certain places, in meetings, in movies, in work areas, or keep them in the vibrating mode wherever you feel you don't want to disturb others. So they should not hear the noise of the calls. There you can keep it on the vibration mode. And keep your calls brief. Always seek permission when you're making a call or transferring a call, or if you're getting an important call and you are in the middle of a meeting, you may have to seek permission to take that call. If you're in the classroom and your parents have just called, you'll have to take a permission to take that call. You're expecting a very important call, and would you be allowed to take it? And be polite. Don't scream. Don't speak in a very low meek voice that the other person cannot hear you, right? So don't be distracted. Be present in the moment. Don't uh, take calls when you're driving. Don't be on a call when you're driving. It's very dangerous, fatal, and unlawful in many countries. And try to make the caller feel confident in you. So with this, we've come to the end of our class today. I hope everything has been understood.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so I think we'll call
Yes,
it a
ma'am.
day
Yes.
as I have a lab class lined up. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.